Washington, D.C. is next. James, good morning on our Democrats line.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for taking my call. Mr. Evans is the first person that's ever caused me to actually stay online long enough to get online. So I'm a first-time caller. Thank you very much. I'm an ex-Navy man, and Jimmy Carter is one of the reasons I joined the Navy back in '78. He was a wonderful man, and the things that he spoke about, the things that he felt about people, are totally anathema to what this man is saying. He just obsessed me so much. The first thing he did was dehumanize the Ayatollah Khomeini, who did nothing but try to protect his country. And if I'm an American, if you put the Shah of Iran in charge of my country, I would hope that I would have the guts to fight him back. And the center of gravity is still Israel. You don't have to be anti-Semitic to disagree with the treatment of the Palestinians. You don't have to be anti-Semitic to disagree with the fact that one small country has hegemony over an entire region.
James, thanks for your input. His views are echoed by a viewer who writes us on Twitter.com. The Palestinians have had their nation occupied for 60 years, oppressed and held in refugee status, and they are the terrorists, ?
Well, you know, there's an issue here with what nation. I never heard of a Palestinian language, flag, culture. There isn't any. All of that was created. It was Hannah Ashwari. I debated her in Madrid, and she said, "Don't distort my reality." She said Bethlehem is a Muslim village where the first Palestinian was born, Jesus Christ. I don't agree with that premise of the Palestinian premise. You have a refugee problem that the Arab world doesn't want to resolve. Because in order to support an enemy, you have to have an army for an enemy, and Israel becomes the enemy to justify their armies. The Palestinians have been pawns. They've been exploited by everyone, including the Muslim world. The refugee problem is the center of gravity for all of it, and nobody wants to stop it. I met with the Prime Minister of Jordan. I said, listen, you're Hashemite. The Palestinians have passports. Why can't you resolve the problem? He said, we'd be delighted to, but we can't get the support of the Arab League. We would solve the problem.
You've mentioned being an advisor to Menachem Begin and meeting with the Jordanian Prime Minister. What's your background in the Middle East?
I've been in the Middle East. I became involved in the Middle East as a very young man. The senior advisor to the Prime Minister was Reuben Hecht, and Reuben became my mentor. He introduced me to Harel. Issa Harel was a founder of Mossad. And I've started working. By the way, I must tell this story about Harel. I'll try to make it short. In September 23rd, 1980, I had dinner with Harel and Reuben. And I said to Harel, the founder of Mossad, Israeli intelligence, do you think our terrorism will ever come to America? He said, America has the power, but not the will. The terrorists have the will, not the power. All of that could change with time. He said, the first terrorist attack will be New York City in your tallest building. Now, this is in the Jerusalem Post. It's an article called America the Target, the article is. He predicted the World Trade Tower would be hit as the first attack because he said it was a phallic symbol, a fertility symbol. He also said that Sadat would be assassinated. And he also said when Ronald Reagan would be elected president, and he said when Ronald Reagan puts his hand on the Bible, the hostages would be released. I was shocked. Reuben called me that moment and said, Harel's right. Well, I didn't understand why until I realized that Carter wire transferred $7.9 billion from the Federal Reserve to the Bank of England and signed a document called the Algerian Accords to buy back the hostages.
What were his options at the time?
Well,
I mean, the military mission had failed, correct? The rescue mission had failed.
The Beckworth mission had failed, indeed.
Beckworth, right.
Yes. What his options, though there were options, he did not want a military option. He did not want a military option. When you tell terrorist regimes that you give them $7-8 billion and respect their territorial integrity, you're really sending a signal that crime pays. we needed to deal with that militarily, and we needed to deal with it quick. He wouldn't do that.
Mike Evans with us up until 10 o'clock Eastern to talk about his book on Jimmy Carter, the liberal left, and world chaos.